There's always one. Always one. Try to run it like a library in here, but
it's not happening, is it?
It's not.
Shut up!
And it's Monday. And we'll get complaints about that as well. So, we have a 6.2 V12 Murcielago engine. So, let's have a cup of tea, get the intro out of the way, and let's get the heads off it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So, tell me about your big lump.
So, this is a 6.2 V12 with, what's 12 times 4? That many valves.
A lot of valves.
A lot of valves. This car was recommended, or this client was recommended to us by Lamborghini Pangborn, so we'll deal with them a lot. So, we've got the engine out. It's got an oil leak off, or water leak off the other bank, so it looks like head gaskets are gone. Or one head gasket's gone, certainly, but we're going to pull both heads off. So, we're going to walk you through it. I don't know how long it's going to take. We might have to cut those out. Hopefully it's not a calamity.
We won't put any music on it.
Yeah, we won't put any music on it. It won't be anywhere near as bad as what the bloody RS3 engine was. So, yeah, we're going to pull the heads off. We know the valve clearances have been done recently because I spoke to Pangborn, I spoke to the client. So we're just going to pull the heads off, check they're straight, and then let them know what we need to do to fix it. But at the minute, where the leak is, when I go around the other side, I'll show you. But it just looks like it's got a coolant leak from head gasket. So, yeah, we've got to pull the 2 VVT solenoids off on both banks, and then we can take the rockers off. So, yeah, I think I've got all the tools. I made sure that I had the coil collars loose because they're not fun to do. But yeah, it's all good. But these are, what, 572 horsepower V12. So this is out of a pre-LP. So this is post-Audi ownership. So Audi bought Lamborghini outright in like, what, 98? So yeah, they're a little bit of an oddity in that the gearbox is under the driver and the passenger. So the gearbox at the front with the clutch, then the engine, then that's the diff. So, and if you think this is big, you should see an Aventador, because that's another level. So this came out, what did this come out, 2001?
2001, yeah.
Replaced the Diablo.
Yep.
So obviously it went Countach, well it didn't, it went back further, but it was what the most popular ones are, Countach, Diablo, then Murcielago, then Aventador. So I think Aventador was 13, 11? No.
Ooh.
Diablo, Murcielago was 01 till 2010.
This sold until 2010.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I think an Aventador was
2011.
about that,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
But feel free to correct us at any point in the comments.
Yeah. But this then went through the facelift. So this is the same engine as what would be in Matt Armstrong's car. So he's got a pre-LP.
Yeah.
Then the LP came out and it had more power. And it was then called LP, so it was LP 640. So it had a 60 horsepower gain. So yeah, it's all fun. Problem is everything's glued on, so it's gonna annoy me getting everything off. But you can see where someone's had them off before, and there's a couple of screwdriver marks in places.
Yes.
But I just need to get the sealant to break. So there we go, it's going. There we go, we've got a bit of oil dripping out, so I've broken the gasket down the bottom. Come on, sweetheart. There we go, she's going. Maybe she's very, very tight. Right.
It's big though, isn't it? It's long.
Yeah, it's just long. Thanks, mate. I was born with it. Right, let me just get that out of the way. Go back to my mobile tool set, because I didn't want to walk back and forth all day.
You're also mobile today, look.
I know.
Scooting.
It'll back up me for days after I'd done that bloody data, which is there.
Ah, let's have a quick look. There we go.
So we've got Daza, we got a 675 LT, we've got this, I've got a V10 sat behind you, I've got another V10 there, I've got a V8 behind me. So, yeah, lots going on.
Yes.
Yeah, but catch you up, Carl's really poorly. Really poorly. So he's had a major operation. He was dying last year. We just all didn't know it. And I say that lightly, but we thought he had the flu, and then over Christmas he took a bit of a turn for worse. So Carl's in hospital at the minute. He's had a major op. So I'll get Davey to put his Instagram in. Send him some abuse, make him feel loved. We do it every day, but it'd be nice for random people to do it. So
yes.
Yeah. It's,
he's a long way away also, isn't he?
He is a long way away, so you're not going to see Carl for a while. Yeah, he's poorly. It's to do with his heart. Surprised the bastard had one, if I'm honest. Mitch is over there laughing. No, so it's not my place to say the ins and outs. I'll just say, you know, if he's happy for us to, then of course we will, but yeah. He's not in a good way, bless him. So, yeah, give him some crap. So this is this feeds oil into certain parts that on the end of the cam. So it's not quite like a V12, a V10 variator. Yeah. So you've got two timing wheels, and then you've got two oil pressure regulators to supply oil pressure into the variators to adjust the timing.
Yep.
So not quite how it's done on the V10s, but still pretty cool. It's clever. I'm quickly going to run out.
So, how much influence was there from Audi at this stage?
Well, Audi never
wasn't
did. Audi never did a V. Audi never did the V12. Can you think of an Audi V12 that wasn't a diesel?
Only the Q7 and
Still a diesel, isn't it?
The R8. With the race cars, the R8.
Always V10s.
Yeah.
You think of a V12 Audi petrol? Never did one, did they? It may be some weird and wonderful thing, I can't remember, but this is all Lambo.
Yeah.
Because this is crazy, like Lambo would do it.
You got W12?
Yeah, it's not real V though, is it? W stood for wank. No, I can't think of.
No. I had a Phaeton for a week once with that W12 engine in.
I'm sorry.
That was a strange car.
That was like a fancy Passat, wasn't it?
It was like a posh Passat, yeah.
And for the money it was, you'd still go and buy an A8.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to get Phaeton owners now commenting.
Yeah,
going,
hating on
my
us.
car off.
I know. See, this is like the stuff I hate about Lambos. So the studs come out, like the nut's gone halfway, and then the studs start. So, and they got copper washers underneath them to seal them.
So have you been giving Mr. Armstrong more advice on his build?
To be fair, he's done really well. You can't knock the lad. He's built a V12 at home with a Tyco toolset, or what little Tyke's toolset, isn't he really? So he's done all right, bless him. I think he's having a hard time at the minute with the oil pump. So if it was a V10, you could just drop the oil pump straight off the bottom of the engine.
Yeah.
Whereas in a V12, it's internal. It's still a dry sump engine, but it's internal. So. Oh, do you want to be on camera, love? It's the wife. Say hi. We're going to get battered for that later.
You are?
Oh, I'm scratching my floor down.
Oh,
I'm going to have to lose my seat.
Hang about, look at that.
Gutted. Right, I'm not sitting down anymore. See, this is where you don't sit down in the job, you scratch your floor. So, spark plug tubes. So they're like 50 mil. So you need a special socket to get them out. and they seal the rocker cover at the spark plug tubes.
There you go.
So there should be O-rings, but there's sealant. Alright. Let's get these out of the way.
Obviously, there are lots of them.
Right, it's got bolts out around the outside, got the spark plug tubes out, which are these things. Screw down. We've got those out. And literally, it should. There we go, it should go in.
There we go.
That is it. Like a gasket with an edge missing. So, bucket shims. So under here, so what you do is you push, when you're doing the clearances, you push the bucket down away from you, and the shim is a disc. So that's like a little bit, not quite like the McLaren ones where they are like little caps on the top of the valve.
Yeah.
So these are quite a bit different. So all the head bolts are hidden under here. Yeah, if I get me light.
Yeah.
So that's the head bolt. So I have a special socket. You see it?
Hang on, let me just change the focus area. Hang on.
So it's just there.
Yeah. Oh, can you see on that one better?
There you go. Good.
Camera's happy. Yeah, there it is.
So we got a special horseshoe socket that I'll show you in a minute. So yeah, which is hilarious. So let's get them knock sensors out of the way. So knock sensors next, which are down the centre. Which are these. Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll just, it should be pretty obvious, but we'll always take photos. So we're taking the knock sensors off because we need to take the water pump assembly off.
Yep.
Because it's bolted to the top of the heads.
So we're not going to be seeing engines like this for that much longer, are we?
No.
So the replacement for the Aventador is apparently going to be hybrid,
Ugh.
but still a V12.
Ugh. I don't know. I'm not buying it yet. Maybe I'll change my mind if they come. I don't know. The problem is, any of the ones that I kind of want to own are like £500,000.
Yeah.
So what are you talking? SF90 P1? Oh, all right, not £500,000, but up. You know, because a P1 ain't £500,000.
Yeah.
That's my difficulty with them at the minute. Right, that hose there.
Oh, there we go. Right. What are you searching? Ferrari SUV.
Yeah. So this, I've undone the two studs at the top that hold the top of the. So this is obviously the water pump.
Yep.
And this is the thermostat housing. So I've done the two studs that hold that to the top of each head because we need them out of the way to get the heads off. I've just undone them two bolts that hold this manifold on here.
Ferrari Purasang, or some other pronunciation.
Yeah. Here we go.
There she goes.
So O-ring here, two O-rings there. Yep, and that sits like... Oh, I nearly spilt that in my tea.
Oh.
That doesn't
Don't
get
leave your tea.
That doesn't get any closer now.
It's all right. Put your hairs in your
Nothing
chest.
in there, mate. So you can see thermostat just down the side, look.
Yep.
So this side is going to be the same as that side. So let's get covers off. Covers off. So that you can see there's a four-wheel drive shaft when you come this side of the engine. Four-wheel drive shaft here, so that's the diff. But here's the auxiliary belts. So you've obviously got the tensioner, the water pump, the rear crank pulley. Yeah.
Yep. There we go.
Because that's classified as the front of the engine. And then there's another idler there. So that's your auxiliary belt. Now on the Aventador, it is the same, but the alternator, same as this, the alternator and AC compressors hung that way. So you've got to strip like a cartridge off the back to get to the belts. So it is an arse-about-face way of doing it.
Yeah.
Because as well, especially on the Aventador, it's all inboard suspension, so it's all the shocks then travel over the top as well. So that makes it quite interesting. And it's Italian, so they do weird things like nuts and washers rather than have captive light-headed bolts like stuff. But to be fair, McLaren do it like this as well. If you've ever done under trays on a McLaren,
Yeah.
it's all held on with 10mm bolts and about 1 million 10mm washers. So yeah.
Yay. So what are these like to work on then compared with, say, the V8 and V10?
Typical arse classics.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're a bloody nightmare. Yeah, everything's fiddly, everything's awkward.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you start getting into, same as like when we do the old 355s, the 430s, that kind of thing. Then you start getting into issues with, you know, for example, Ferraris. If we've ever got to do header pipes on a Ferrari,
Yep.
like a 430 or anything like that, the studs are snapping coming out when you do the bolts off ahead.
Nightmare. Talking of which, I've spotted one. The cheeky 355.
Yeah. So, same again, that ends off. We'll pop these out. So, that one. What have we got? We've got that hose to take off this end, and then we're pretty much free to, then it's valve timing, and then head bolts. And the head bolts are going to be a whole new different level of joy.
That sounds like it's going to get interesting, and there may be some naughty words.
Yeah, I mean, floor's slippy where I slip coolant, so just don't fall. I don't use naughty words, mate. I don't know what you're on about.
So what would you say, in your experience, what's been the most tricky engine to work on, with things breaking or just...
When the one I didn't enjoy doing was the V8 out of the C63.
Okay.
Whoever designed that engine was a moron. Yeah, like the what holds the chain tensioner guides in, pins you have to hammer through from the front.
Wow.
But then, of course, when you hammer them in, you deform the ends of them. So then, to get them out, you're supposed to screw in like a slide hammer.
Yeah.
But of course, you've hammered the pin in, so you've knackered. So yeah, I didn't like that. I thought the engine was a little bit. I didn't think it was a nice engine. Like, you look at some engines and they're like works of art, and I didn't think that was. I thought that was crap, to be fair. And then when you look at, we've just put an engine in another C63, a V8 for someone, a twin turbo.
Yeah.
The much later one, and that engine's awful as well. It's just,
really,
yeah, they're not.
But they sound good, don't they?
Yeah, like this is a work of art. Like you look at this, and it's a beautiful engine to look at.
Yeah.
Like I think they're quite good at, especially when a manifold's sat on them. I think they're good engines to look at. But when you start looking at this new stuff now, where the charge coolers are bolted, the inlet manifolds are on the outside of them, and they're plastic, I don't think engines are pretty anymore.
They've lost some of that character, haven't they?
Yeah.
In many ways.
I haven't missed anything. Just need a tappy tap tap. Yeah, you know, like you're looking at, and I suppose really it's.
And this isn't slagging off anybody who's got a C63.
No, it's not that. It's just
we're talking about how the engines
used
to work on.
Like you look through the back window of any of these, and you see the engine.
Yeah.
And on all these other cars now, everything's covered in, even the Audi stuff, the new RS6s and stuff like that.
Yep.
Like the old V10 RS6. You saw the inlet manifold and it had the bullhorn pipes in it, you know?
It just looks cool, doesn't it?
Yeah, but the new one now, nothing like that.
Yeah. Not that you enjoy working on C6s either. Let's not forget.
They're just hard, yeah, because of how much you've got to strip down to get to anything. They're hard, and then because you've then got it's so much labour to do anything, they're just expensive to look after. So another one off. And nice rocker, proper cast items. They're nice. Like how old school is that? Lock washers, lock tabs. So you put your little 13 mils in and then you just smash over the washer. It's like, it's not like that anymore. It's going apart quite nice, to be fair.
He's doing well so far, yeah.
Got a hard bit to do, but we had to do a little bit of prep. So I've got a ratchet in the back on a crank pulley. I've taken the plugs out. It hasn't got to be set up on a DTI because I'm only trying to find TD on 1. So that's 1 to 6, 7 to 12. So I've just got literally a little post on top of the piston, and then you can see now we're bang on our marks. Yeah, so I'm TDC on 1, and then all 4 cams are lined up. So mark on the top of the cam and then a cam cap. So what I'm going to do now is I've marked the pulleys and the chains just with some paint, same as top and bottom end, just to make sure I've got some references as well. I'm going to pull the 2 tensioners out.
Try and
I couldn't get
your slippy floor.
I know, I couldn't get a socket in. So I will just, there's one. So just oil fed plunger, so like now, chain goes slack. So when you look down there, that's what pushes on the chain on the bottom. I don't know whether can you see the tensioner in there?
Yep, you can just about see that.
So that's that side. Let me do this side. I think that little 5mm is a lock. So you put a little screw on the top to lock it, so it can't back out. So you gotta be careful. They're like on some of the cranks and that, they put little locks. You've got to be careful because if you don't undo the lock, right, then it will bind. So it was. So the lock screws just in there, and it literally just pinches on it to stop it coming out, stop it backing off. So rather than plaster it in Loctite sort of thing. But you've got to be careful because if you don't look, you can pinch the threads as you come out.
Yeah.
So that's the other tensioner out. So that's that side. I've got 2 on the front, which I shall get out. Perfect. So then, this holds the top of the other guide. But my God, that is tight. See, whereas on this one, they've used a load of Loctite. Yep. So that's the cap, and then if you look in the bottom valve, you can see where it holds, that then holds the guide. Can you see it? So we need to undo that pin, so then the guide is free.
Nice work. I've worked out that pretty much wherever I move around to film you doing this, there's an R8 in the background.
Yeah, that's kind of how we roll around here, mate. If you go outside, there's a load of R8s as well. There you go. Just a little pin. Just holds the guide in.
Yep.
That's it. And then on that side then, if I put my finger in, that guide's loose. So there we go. Right, so both tensioners out, both guide rail pins out. So now chain should be loosey-goosey to a point. It definitely is on the tensioner side, but now what I can do is I can back all the cams off.
Yep.
And I can take cams out. So tensioners, that side's reduced from close. So when we did the Darza video, remember we spoke about how to back the cams off.
Yes.
So this is now, these are the ones that are important in how you do it.
Crucial.
Yeah. So if you're not sure, then literally just do half a turn on each, all the way over in a row, right? But if I show you, the pressure on the cam is there because the lobes are pressing on the valves.
Yep.
Ever so slightly here because you're not on base circle. There's no pressure there, there's no pressure there. Your pressure here and there's slight pressure here. So you just need to watch as you come off. Like there's nothing there so I can feel it. It's like if you're worried, there you go, here you go.
Yep.
And just, that's half a turn, it's nothing. And then just keep doing that. It's there, I can feel it, it goes. Bit of tension on that one. Nearly off. And if you're not sure, just compare the buckets all the way over. So there's still quite a bit of tension on these. Yeah. Yep. Like I can't move my fingers. I can't move that with my fingers. So we're nearly off on those. Right, so I reckon, I think, mate, we can do all those. I'm gonna have to get a magnet. The other thing as well is, remember, if you start pinching the cap as it comes off, because they're on studs, they'll jam. So you've got to bear that in mind as well. That with a bolt, you obviously withdraw the bolt, but all we're withdrawing is the stud. We're not withdrawing the cap. The stud, sorry. So the cam cap can pinch on the stud. So you've got to bear that in mind. Right. 8, 10, 14. Right, so they are numbered. Right. So, just good practice is take a photo. There we go. Go with a bit of a jump look because they're stuck on the caps. So we just get see, this one's got stuck. There we go. Like so. See, the advantage of doing it with like a ratchet or a bar or anything is you can feel the tension as you come off.
Yeah.
You can feel a resistance. Like you do it with the socket. But if you sat it with a buzz gun and just undone them with a gun or a drill, you wouldn't feel that. So you need to try and get it to come up as uniformly as you can, really. And they're sat on dowels anyway, so you've got to make sure you don't. Just a little tap to get it to break off the dowels. I've done like thought of using a screwdriver on it. I might just go and get a little plastic wedge or something just to get that one to go. Right, I think I've got it to go with that plastic wedge. So I'll just back these out a little bit more.
He's not picking up that music.
So we should be able to just so there's the tension one, look. There we go. So you can see here, like the two, they're directly on top, so that's where the tension was sort of sat in the middle. This bloody last one has been a pain. There we go.
What we doing?
Wow. I had the tools to take all the variators off Murcielago, but this one's a pre-LP, and it seems that every pre-LP engine they made them different. So I need a special socket to take the variators off the back of the cams. There's no way you can fudge it because they're like £2,000 a variator. So we're just going to Pangbourne, Lamborghini, and they're going to lend us what we need. So I thought, while we're here, we'll have a look around. We'll take Dav, we'll go and look at some cars we can't afford. Give Craig some abuse because that's always fun. Get an overly priced coffee for free. Better do.
Happy days.
Well, I'll have tea. And then go out the back, bob a Dave, rob his tools, and then drive home and get it apart so that you guys can see how a head comes off a Murcielago and why you shouldn't do it at home. So, yeah, it'll be good. So we are 2.5 miles out. I have 0 miles left on my range, but that is fine. It's all right, it's fine. I know how much this beauty will do.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Right, let's get it.
So, yeah.
So,
a delicate little V12, and you need a lorry spanner. But that is what we need. There's 2 options. One's Diablo Murcielago and one's Murcielago. So those 2 pins, watch me drop my spanner, those 2 pins are what sit in the end of the variator, and then you undo it with a spanner. So should we drive home and see if they work?
I think we should do.
But might have to have a little nosy at the cars before we go, mate. There's an STO round there. And the SVJ we had in for ages that got repoed as well, that's over in the corner, turned up here. By the power of Grayskull, it's not 2 days later. We've just got back from Pangbourne. So, we started stripping it apart. What you saw, we got to the variators, the cam variators, and there's actually 3 different styles. So there's ones that take that tool, there's one that take that tool, and there's some that are held on by just an Allen key bolt. So, when you saw, before our little drive bit you just saw, I didn't have the right tools to get the variators off.
Hang about. That's a big tool.
Now that is a big tool. So you've obviously got a way to hold the cam, and then you've got a securing tool. Now, this is where it gets funny, because that's a £4,000 camshaft, and the workshop manual doesn't tell you which way they unscrew, right? So we've battled it a little bit. They're left-hand threads. What threw us was, if you come this side, Dad, because I've stripped the variators, right? If you come this side.
Sorry, mate, I'm going the wrong way.
That's all right. Right, so you've got 2 variators. So you've got inlet, exhaust, and exhaust, right? So because the way how you would retard and advance a cam, if you look at which way I'm turning it, I turn this clockwise to get the variator to unfold, to get the variator to come out, right? And on this side, it's anti-clockwise, okay? So they're left-handed thread, which at the foot, you can't undo them with the bolts in. So the whole module is bolted to the cam. So you put your tool in to undo it, and you go, oh yeah, that's right. But then you go, oh, hang on a minute, I'm undoing a variator. So then you sat there thinking, So I went through all my notes, I went through everything, and I'd never written down which way, and it's been a little while since I've done a really old, like an old Diablo style variator. So on this one, you've got to put 2 pinch bolts back in and get them done. So anyway, we've got them cracked off. It was a joy. It was a good laugh. So basically, all 4 come off left-hand thread. So you screw them up to take them off. 2 of them will undo the right way. So you undo them and the variators grab hold of the variator unit and you can just unscrew it, right?
Yep.
Like so. So that's out, okay? That's fine. Let me put that on a bench behind you so don't muddle it up. Right. Then the problem comes with this one because you're trying to undo it. All right, I've got it loose, but you're trying to undo it and you're unscrewing the variator section, yeah?
Yeah.
So when you're sat there wondering if it's left or right hand thread anyway, that kind of throws you. So you've got to put a bolt in, which I don't need to do, but at least it shows you guys. You put a bolt in like that, right? Which then pinches like that. So then that pinches the piece your tool sits in, which is this front plate, and the back of the variator. So we had to put a bolt in, pinch it up, like so. Then you can put your tool on, right? Then I can unwind it once I've got the chain off, okay? Like so,
Okay.
right? So that's all four. I've got these two cams out, and I've got the variators off these two cams. So, I'm pretty sure we went through undoing these cams, didn't we?
We did.
Right. But, if you look here, look where the lobes are. So there's going to be no pressure from the valves here. There's going to be pressure here. No pressure here. Very, very slight here, because you can see at the bottom it's just starting to ramp up. Nothing here, and a slight bit of pressure here. So you can see where you've got to be very careful to back your cams off. Like nothing there, a lot of pressure there, nothing there, a lot of pressure there, and some pressure there. So all we'll do there is just, I won't go through it again, but we just go half a turn at a time, all the way out. And then because the caps are doweled, you've got to let the caps come off the dowels, or you'll start like running away with the nuts like that, yeah?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, the pressure will pop the dowels and it'll send them. So you just got to watch that. So literally, this is a little bit of patience. Yeah. So we just go half a turn at a time. Some of them will be a bit sticky. If you let them come off pissed, they'll definitely bind up in the caps, or the dowels will bind up in the caps. But this is the exact opposite of what we were saying about the RS3, where it's a short cam and it's secured into the cam bridge.
Yeah.
So you can be a little bit more, I wouldn't want to say clumsy, but they're a little bit more forgiving. This is a big long V12 with cast camshafts. These will break.
You were saying they're £4,000.
They're thousands, mate. Yep. So discretion is the better part of valor.
Absolutely.
Where you just walk away, go and do your research, rather than force yourself into a position where you're then like, shit, I've broken something.
Which is often what you see from engines that have come to you.
Yeah, people have not paid attention
And just had a go.
had a go and got it wrong. There we go. So that one started to go. That one started to go. They're all going. So that's all right. There we go. So, and if you're not sure, little plastic wedge. Don't go gouging at it with Snap-on's finest. Chisel. So like here, look, you can tell all these are loose. So I'm sticking up, there we go. See that start to go then?
Yep.
So I'm starting to go. That's got balance now. So just watch the cap off. If the cap's on a slant, it just needs a little bit of a wiggle because it'll pinch on the dowels. So when I get one off now, I'll show you. There's nothing there. It's almost like the studs aren't quite long enough. So what happens is you can run out of thread before you've got the cam backed all the way off. Right, I'll buzz the rest of these caps out.
Yep.
And then
we'll come back.
Catch you in a minute.
Okay,
right.
We're back.
We are with my magic horseshoe socket, or offset socket. So we just a little bit at a time. There's one. Oh, I'd already done that one. We get this end. There's two. How many we got? So yeah, you can see how fiddly that is.
Banging.
So you always undo a head in sequence, in ever decreasing, undo it in ever decreasing circles. So start on the outside and work your way in. And then when you're doing it up, then it's the opposite. You start in the middle and you work your way out. Right, so I've just backed them all off with a tool, and then what you can do is I am saying nothing.
I'm not saying anything about what you're doing there.
Nuts. So we can just literally spin them off. So, and then obviously if any need you to get your socket in and help them along, like so. It's almost like they designed the heads, went, oh, built these mega heads, the porting's beautiful, and then they're like, shit, how do we bolt them onto the engine? The wrong side of me stud.
Apologise for the grinding in the background.
Mitch is doing a pollen filter on an R8. No, he's trying to get a steering lock off. This is out after the Christmas or year in review video, so this joke will make sense, but so I
think you noticed.
I'm just taking out the buckets and the shims. So the bucket sits across the top, and then there's a bit of stiction. See if I can break it. There you go. And then that's the shim. So that's the hydraulic tappet, and then that's the shim you put in place to set your valve clearance.
Lovely.
Yes. So the reason we do that is, the reason we take them out now is I'll turn the head upside down, I'll forget they're in, and then they'll roll all over the floor. So at least at the minute, if I don't have to cut the seats, if I don't have to service the heads, they can all go back in the same place and they're fine. If I cut the seats, then I change the clearance, and then we'll have to do all the valve clearances again. But so just pop these out. And then if you look down the top tab now, you can see the retainer and the top of the valve.
Uh-huh.
So as you can see on the bench then, we've got everything organised and laid out, 2 banks, look.
Let's go and have a quick look. So you know where everything is.
Yeah, everything's obviously.
Hang on, mate, I might not hear that.
So everything's obviously assigned to a cylinder and then assigned to a cam.
Yeah.
So if we change a cam, we'd have to redo all the valve clearances. If we cut the seats, we'd have to redo them. If we change the valves, we'd have to redo them.
Yeah.
So anything that's going to change the install height of the valve, we'd have to then do valve clearances again. But what we're going to do is, and this is a big, heavy, unwieldy unit. So
We've got something at the end of it.
I think, let me just see if it moves. Right.
Okay, here we go.
So it is all loosey-goosey. All right. So we're just going to lift that. Wiggly, wiggly. All right. Okay.
Yep.
Right. Come towards me a second. All right. If I put that there, do you want to run around the other side of the bench, mate? I want to flip it over.
She's a big one.
So it's even an old style fibre gasket. Goes a bit fuzzy there, look. And there. So yeah, I mean you can see little areas where there's obviously the oil's coming out of that drain feed hole there. Drain hole.
Yeah.
Don't know which one it is on this, to be fair. And then that's where your leak here's been from, is this. It's been bleeding out the gasket. Yeah?
Yep.
And then the water has been coming from sort of where the rest of the fibre joins on. So, yeah, because I'm sure that's the feed, and then that's a feed, and then these are the drains from the top of the head, but it's all good. So, nothing too bad in there. We'll give that a clean out because you can see with all that sort of crap in the bottom.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll just, because I'm not washing the block, we'll just give the block a hoover and make sure there's no debris down inside it. You can see there, look, we've taken whatever that is. It's not very nice stuff. It's probably out of the plug holes where we've taken the plugs out. It's probably come out with the plugs. So, yeah.
So not too bad generally then?
Not too bad, mate. No, I'm going to measure the head in a minute for straightness,
Yep.
which is the last check. And if that's all good, it's a case of new head gaskets, which we'll film. New head gaskets, new seals, put it back together. So, yeah, give me 2 minutes, grab a straight edge, and we'll measure it up. Really expensive ruler. Right, so we've seen we lift the head off. There's no point me doing both of them. There's one's enough. So what I've done is I've taken a brand new, really sharp razor blade and literally just done this over and over again until I've got all the gasket material. So yeah, you can see staining, but that's pretty smooth. You're not trying to get it spotless, but what you're trying to do is remove anything that the straight edge can sit up on. Just make sure it's nice and clean. And then the two ways you kind of do it are a really good quality straight edge, good quality straight edge, smallest feeler gauge, which is 0.02 of a mil, and see if you can get it in anywhere. Keep a straight edge so it doesn't pinch. Yeah. So I can get a little bit there, but I've got a little ridge here. So if we move it forward, does it still go in? No. So it's not the head, that's debris. The other way of doing it is put your straight edge on, like so. Get a light, and stick your head down the side, and literally wander your light down the straight edge, and see if you get a glare. So you'll always see, because metal to metal isn't perfect, you'll always see a little beam of light come through, but do you all of a sudden get a big flash of light?
Yep.
Yeah? So you want to do it that way. It's a big old head, but you'd normally do it diagonally, and then this way as well. So like, I can look through there, and that is clean as a whistle. So it's not a warped head that's done it. It is the fact that they're fibre gaskets and they're rubbish. So we'll get the other one off. I'll do the same. And you can see all the debris coming out. We get the other one off, we'll do the same. I'll measure it up. We'll give this a good clean, put it in a wash tank, give it a good scrub. I don't use any abrasives. If I haven't got to skim the head, I don't use abrasives. So I'll just use like a nylon brush to clean this up. You see some people go out and with wet and dry or anything like that. Unless I've got, like these are little ridges here where they've been sat on the drain holes. Yep. So you might brush those up, but I don't want to put anything into the head. So I'd rather just use like a nail brush and just brush it up. And that's the best way to do it. So get it clean, get it in a hot wash. I get the parts on order, so head gaskets, seals, nuts, bolts, that sort of thing. And then yeah, we'll get you back down, we're doing a video, mate.
Good to go.
All right.
So in the meantime,
like, subscribe, comment below. Tell us if you like it, what we've missed. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Laters.